What's your young man's name right beside you?
Hugh.
How much time did he spend with you this morning? Teaching you all this stuff?
You'll be sitting for
Good answer. That's
I'm a quick study. He's gotten you in early and catching you up.
trying to learn to.
You don't have to have a copy of what this, yeah. Which one is it?
Phillips, what was your first name? Angelina. Okay.
You got it, Brian? I can give this one. Yeah, what is it? 44.
Got it. Okay, Dr. Phillips, if you would tell the judge about yourself and your qualifications to have performed this autopsy in the case here.
Okay. So I have completed my undergraduate education in anthropology from New York University. I have a graduate degree in human nutrition from Columbia University in New York, 4 years of medical school upstate New York, and then 4 years of anatomic and clinical pathology training before one final year of forensic pathology training here at MUSC in Charleston, and that's where I stayed on and worked for the last 10 years.
You got warm weather and stay.
That's why I stayed.
I figured you out.
We would offer her as an expert in the field of pathology.
Any more dire for the witness being qualified as an expert for the purposes here?
Yeah.
All right, she's so qualified.
Okay. Dr. Phillips, did you perform an autopsy on the person of Scott Spivey that was the subject that is the deceased in this case?
Yes.
All right. And when did you do that?
That was in September of 2023.
Okay. And you did this in your capacity as an examiner for the Medical University of South Carolina, correct?
Correct.
All right. And if you would explain to the court, we don't have a jury in this case, it's just the judge here. If you would explain to the judge what you did and what you found.
Okay. So the basics of the autopsy is an external and internal examination of the body for the purposes of determining the cause and manner of death. In this case, the cause of death was deemed a gunshot wound to the right side of the back. He also had a second gunshot wound, which was a grazed gunshot wound on the left cheek, and there were some minor injuries on his legs.
Okay. And let me ask you this. When did you actually perform the autopsy?
The specific date of the autopsy is the 12th of September, 2023.
All right. And what time of day would we be talking about?
That would be in the morning. I don't recall the specific time.
Okay. And did you establish the cause of death?
Yes.
Tell the court what the cause of death was.
I determined the cause of death to be the gunshot wound to the right side of his back.
Okay. And the other injuries that you noted were not fatal in any nature.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So we're talking about one gunshot wound to the right side of the back.
Yes.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this. In terms of where the gunshot wound entered the body, was there anything unusual about the gunshot entry wound itself?
The gunshot entry wound is slightly irregular. It has the usual features of an entrance wound, an abrasion or a scrape margin along it. The edges of the wound where the bullet goes in and creates a scrape or an abrasion on the outer surface of the skin. There was no soot, there was no stippling. The location of the gunshot wound is on the right side of the back near the axillary region or the axillary crease, where your axillary crease is basically your armpit and the crease is behind your arm.
And you describe that as the ancillary region?
Axillary. AX.
Axillary. You spell it for the court reporter?
AXILLARY.
And that would be under the armpit area?
Yes, the axillary region is that armpit region, and when I say axillary crease, it's the crease that forms on the back and front of the arm when your arm is down.
Hey, waiter, you come here. If you would, how about use this young man as a model, and if you would show the judge as we get a little closer, where she might want to come down. I don't know. Will you ask her?
Y'all know if we move it.
Okay.
Okay. So on the right side of his back, the axillary crease would be where the line or seam of his jacket is, right here. Armpit region, obviously armpit. And the gunshot wound was in this region here. So that muscle fat area that is just behind where the armpit crease is.
And that is the ancillary area of the body?
Axillary.
Axillary, I'm sorry. Now, again, if you would describe to the judge the path of the bullet through the body.
So the bullet enters here on the right side towards the armpit region and travels through the body towards the front. And I pulled part of the bullet out from underneath the pectoral muscles, which is on the chest here. And another part of the bullet remained in the chest cavity on the right and was on the diaphragm, which is the muscle that sits below your lungs. So it separated once it got inside of the body. One part continued to the left side of the chest, and one part stayed in the right side of the chest.
All right, and if you use this rod that I have here, the bullet would have traveled through the body from right to left?
So it would have been right to left and front to back with a very slight upward trajectory.
You said front to back.
Sorry, back to front.
Thank you.
Correct.
All right, and again, there was no bullet that entered directly in the back and came out the front side.
Correct. It did not go directly in the middle of the back, and the trajectory was not straight forward. It was across the body.
So would I be fair to say instead of, though there was an angle to it, the bullet traveled through the body from the right side to the left side,
Yes, it did.
moving ever so slightly forward as it traveled that way?
It moved forward in comparison to where it entered the body towards the back.
Okay. And was the bullet wound that you found consistent with having struck the body of the deceased while the right arm was in an upward position?
That is one position that he could have been in to expose that area for the gunshot wound to enter where it did and travel across the body in that trajectory.
And if the arm had been down and in a backwards position of any way, the bullet would have entered, could have entered, would have entered, or struck the tricep as well as the back area where it entered into.
There we go. If his arm is down in this position, the gunshot wound enters here. This muscle would be in the pathway of the bullet and would have likely gotten injured. So the arm probably had to be up or somewhere over to expose this area.
And if the arm had been in this position with a pistol in the hand, and somebody was making that turn, is that consistent with the bullet having entered the body in that way?
Yes, that would be consistent in that this area would be exposed if the projectile is coming from this direction going across the body.
Okay, thank you. If you would have a seat. Let me show you what has been marked as exhibit number 44A. And Judge, we're not going to put these on the screen because they may be somewhat graphic. Tell the judge that's a photograph of and hand it up to him.
This is a photograph of the left side of Mr. Spivey's face taken at the time of autopsy, showing the grazed gunshot wound.
All right, and show you Exhibit 44B, saying, describe to the judge what that is and pass it to him.
So this is also a photo taken at the time of autopsy, showing the body laying on its left side, exposing the area for the gunshot wound so that I can photograph it and show the general location. The arm is pulled upward and forward, so it may create a bit of an artifact or change that wasn't necessarily there when the body was positioned as if he was alive.
All right, and let me show you defense exhibit number 42A and ask you if that depicts the gunshot wound.
This is a picture of the body at the scene as it was found, and we can see the gunshot wound in its location on the right side of his back near the armpit region.
Now, as part of the autopsy report itself, how do you do a toxicology test?
Yes, all of our forensic cases, we will draw samples to submit for toxicology, and that was done in this case.
All right, and do you test do the toxicology test at MUSC, or you forward it to the National Medical Science Laboratories?
In this case, it was submitted to NMS, or National Medical Sciences Laboratories. That's where all of the forensic toxicology testing was performed.
And did they report back to you what their findings were?
Yes, they did submit the report back to us. I did not include it in my autopsy report because the report was completed before those results were available.
All right. Do you know what the toxicology reports in this case were?
Yes, I have a copy of it with me.
Yep, share that with the court.
In this case, his toxicology revealed ethanol or alcohol in the blood, and that's blood collected from his heart. There was also caffeine in the heart blood. We submitted urine for testing. It was tested for testosterone, creatinine, and ethanol was also tested in the vitreous fluid, which is fluid from the eyes.
All right. Exhibit 46 is the autopsy report. Does it have toxicology?
This is the toxicology.
All right. Is it in the evidence?
Not yet.
Not yet. Can you put on the toxicology report? Exhibit 46, Judge, is the toxicology report associated with this autopsy.
Which is the one looking at now?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. And if you would go over that with the judge again, Dr. Phillips, blood alcohol concentration is what?
So the blood alcohol concentration is 0.130, and that is just another way of stating the blood ethanol up at the top, which is 130. It's giving it in a percentage, and that's what people commonly hear when they hear about blood alcohol testing. They hear about the BAC, or the blood alcohol concentration. So that's a percentage of the alcohol in the blood at the time of testing.
And that, in a common vernacular, 13?
Yes.
All right. And your field study prepare you to testify about that effects on the body, potentially, of that type of blood alcohol concentration?
Yes, I can give you a general description of what that blood alcohol concentration would do to a person, but I could not tell you what the effects were on Mr. Spivey.
And the general effects you would expect would be what?
As your blood alcohol content increases, especially up to a 0.13, you start to lose the higher executive function, and you can be disoriented, you can be sleepy, you can be aggressive. There's multiple different reactions that people have to alcohol. But commonly we just think of it as a disorientation or eventual loss of consciousness as it gets higher and higher.
And I noticed an anabolic steroid screen with the urine.
Yes.
And do you know what findings of the toxicology report said about that?
That is referring to the testosterone in the urine, and that is one of the steroids that we can identify in urine. And it is a hormone that is naturally in the body for men, and it is sometimes used by bodybuilders and other people to help build muscle.
Oh, Brian.